Hello there, my name is Carl. Welcome to my workshop and welcome to my YouTube channel. Now this video is going to be a bit of an addendum to Mill Resto 16, where we strip down the gearbox of the milling machine, which you can see behind me here, and we remove the bearings from all of the shafts. Now one of the bearings that I haven't removed yet is the outer race, or rather the inner race for the forward taper roller bearing on the spindle of the machine. So we're going to have a go at that now. Now what I've got to do that is this piece of ERW tubing, which hopefully is going to fit over here, and I'm going to be able to use an arrangement of threaded rods and bushes, not unlike some of the other special tools that I've made so far, to try and push this bearing off its journal here. So I know that the boss here is 2.75 inch diameter, and this piece of ERW is about 2.78, I think, internally. Yeah, 2.779, 2.78 basically. So that fits over the driving feature on the spindle, and it rests against the bearing quite nicely. Now, what I'm proposing to do is to run a piece of threaded rod, which I'll show you here now. We'll run this through the center of the spindle, and then we'll put the bush that we made, one of the bushes that we made, you'll remember we made a bush for the end of this spindle. We'll put that in the end of the spindle there, and then we can put something on the end, perhaps one of the a clamp bar from a clamping kit on the end of this tube, and tighten it up, and tighten the threaded rod up, and that'll push the inner race of the taper roller bearing off the journal, and we'll get it removed. So this sits quite nicely, the ERW tube sits quite nicely against the bearing there, but it's cockled, as my grandma would say, over slightly. This is just a saw cut end, so I'm not too keen on pressing against it like that. So I think what I'm going to do is get this in the lathe and try and square this end up. Try and pick the squarest end to put in the chuck. That's not very good, but we'll get it over to the lathe anyway. Well, that one's better. It's got a massive rag on this one. Maybe just knock that off with a file. Yeah, this is the squarest end. It's not great, but it's better than the other end. Right, so we'll get this in the lathe and we'll get this end squared up, and then we'll come back to the bench and we'll try and get this this inner race off. So what I've decided to do is just do a bit of work with a file on this on the tube, just to get the end the squarest end a bit squarer before I put it in the lathe, and hopefully that'll make things a bit easier for me. So I tried to square the ends up using a file, like I said, over at the vise, and it was around about that time that I realised I was standing next to a lathe. So I managed to get this end squared up, this in the chuck now, by very ginger cuts and hand feeding very carefully, got it squared up. This material, mild steel that these ERW tubes are made of, is horrendous. Ever so chewy and ever so grabby, not very nice at all, especially not in a scenario like this where you can't really do anything else because the outside is not round, so you can't hold it any other way than this really. Not that I know of anyway. So it's just a case of ginger cuts, and ginger cuts meaning very small depths of cut, and square the ends up. So we're basically ready to go now. I squared this end up, as you saw. I've actually shortened it a bit as well, so I cut it down in the saw and then squared this end up again. So we're ready to go now. I'll just get the requisite components of the clamping kit. So if I put that across there, I've got the bush in this end here with a double nut lock nut there to hold it in place. If we get another M12 nut on this end, then we should be able to push this bearing off. Let's try and get this a bit central. I think with a let's have a look, make sure that's good. Okay, that's pressing against the bearing. The inner race, I should say. Right, what we need now is 19mm spanner and socket, so we'll get that now. Have a guess where the 19mm is. It's on the lathe, so I'll go and get it. Right, let's get our socket set up. Ratchet and a 19mm socket. There we go. Okay, we're ready to go. I'm back in. I'm with you. Right. I'm hoping that this is just gonna push off. Yep, it's moving. I'm moving it. Right, swap over to a ratchet spanner, I think. Better still, let's go with the ring. Here we go. Yep. Yeah, we're definitely going with it now. Turning the spanner at the opposite end. Ah, beautiful. That's coming off. Moving now. I really do like making ad hoc bits of tooling that just get the job done. I think I might be able to do something similar to get the new bearing on. Right. Hear me grunting and groaning like the old man I am. We're almost there. Can't just be me that makes all kinds of goofy noises when I'm doing jobs in the workshop. You know, watched too much Rainbow when I was a child. When they used to do those drawings and make the weird sound effects. That will make absolutely no sense to you whatsoever if you're not in the UK. Right. I think that's off. Let's undo this. Something's happening anyway. It's on the threaded portion now. Ah, right. That's what's happened. I've come up against the dogs there. The drive dogs. So, I'll disassemble this lash up and bring you back when we get this bearing off. So I've managed to get the clamp bar in between the drive dogs on the driving feature on the end of the spindle, and that's done the trick. So let's get all this apart again, and I'll show you what we've got. Another tool to join the rank, well, tool, it's hardly a tool, is it? Another piece to join the rank of the special tools that I've been making for this job, which are starting to grow in number. I should start marketing them. Right, let's get this out of the vise. Okay, there's our inner race, 355X. You'll remember. The outer race has the flange on it. And there's the spindle. So that is the final disassembly of the gearbox. Thought there was some kind of writing on the end of there, but there you go, there she is. Well, that's it. That's all we have time for today. I hope you enjoyed that fairly short video by my usual standards. Uh, so maybe you're pleased about that, I don't know. But yeah, so we took that bearing off the shaft there, or the spindle rather, so that's the gearbox disassembly complete now. I've been doing a lot of work recently on the gas turbine project, not physical work or engineering in terms of building things. I've been doing a lot of research and a lot of book reading, because I am trying to put together a couple of videos showing the theory of these turbocharger gas turbine conversions, because there's almost none of it online. There's a dearth, in my opinion, of information, and there are some forums that give you some bits and pieces, but it's very disjointed and very spread out, and conflicting information is sometimes given. So I've been trying to get a handle on how these turbocharger to gas turbine conversions work, how efficient they are, and the kind of numbers involved, what we're dealing with. So in the next few weeks, you should see a couple of videos at least from me on the gas turbine, the theory of the gas turbine, and how we can design one based on working from first principles. So it is going to be a little bit numbers heavy. There's going to be some thermodynamics involved in that, because we're dealing with gas turbines, gas dynamics, and so on and so forth. Please do tune in and have a look at them. I'm going to make it as digestible as I possibly can. It's simple arithmetic. There's no massive mathematical theory involved. There is thermodynamic theory, obviously, but it's going to be simple arithmetic. You'll be able to follow it. Please don't be put off by the maths. It's all part of the big picture of how these gas turbines work, turbocharger gas turbines, indeed any gas turbine. So I hope you enjoy it anyway. I'm actually thinking about calling it the Christmas lectures, but if you're not from the UK, you won't understand what that is. Although you might actually, because they are very well subscribed by people from all over the world, basically. And I'm talking about, of course, the Royal Academy of Sciences Christmas lectures that they run every year here in the UK, and televised as well. So anyway, thank you very much for watching and listening to me waffle on. Thank you very much for subscribing. If you're not subscribed, then please consider doing so. I've got lots of interesting stuff coming up, so hit that subscribe button. And if you are subscribed, hit the bell icon as well, so you'll get to know when I put new videos out. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Bye for now. Take it easy.